Welcome everyone to Blindfold Chess. Last week, I had the opportunity of playing some games with Dutch team, SV Lonhar, and Eric Eckersdijk was our special guest in one of the chess live streams at Shivam Bansal's channel. So I'll be showing two games today. First game against a candidate master. Uh, that was a normal chess game. The candidate master is a 2200 person, and I think so also 2200 FIDE. So it was a big thing for me to play against a titled player. The second game was a game where I was almost winning against Eric Eckersdijk. It was in the Crazy House variant. So first, let us start with the first game. The first game was under the time control of 2 minutes plus 1 second increment. I was white, and faulty temporary. A German candidate master was black. Opening started with knight f3 d5, which is the Reti opening. Then I just played a c3 move, which is kind of not taking the center, avoiding all the main lines. This is what I did, but it's not recommended. But again, I didn't wanted to aim for an advantage with white. Knight f6 d4 e6 bishop g5 queen bishop e7 knight bd2 castles. Now here g3 is a move which is dubious at this position, and this is a thing that where I should note that playing g3 is not the right plan in this kind of structures. Playing e3 is better, but anyways, I played g3. Opponent played c5. I played bishop g2, knight bd7. I castled b6, and here a4. Okay, and bishop a6. So right here, bishop a6 is kind of not the strongest move. I think so. h6 is a really good move. h6, bishop f4, g5, bishop e5, then bishop b7, and the middle game gets very complicated. After bishop a6, I blundered. Rook a e1 was a good move after bishop a6. Rook a e1, then again h6 thing, exchange on f6, and then continue. Maybe play an e4 because I need to break into the center, otherwise the black initiative will be too strong. So e4, and knight takes, pawn takes, rook c8, knight e5, queen c7, rook e3, bishop b7. This would have been a nice game continuation if I would have played rook e1, but I didn't play it. I instead played a really terrible move. But I think instead of e4 here, people there's one game where someone has played after rook e1 knight e5. So this is the only game kind of rated game that has ever happened in a tournament where it went knight e5. It was a draw. So I'll just quickly go through the game because bishop is a6 is a very rare move. So that's why this is kind of a unique position right here. C takes d5. Then here the intermediate move of knight c6 and taking on d4 with the knight, which is kind of a weird thing to do because e5 comes, knight c2, rook d8, a5, and right now black has completely equalized, and white is basically just trying to find defend its weaknesses, and most probably just taper out to a draw, which does happen. White gets a pass d pawn, but black is in time because black is having one rook for two pieces. There was a threefold repetition. I think so. This would have. I think so. It would have been if a competitor played, white would have won, I think. So anyways, let's return to the game. I played knight e5 directly, which again shows that my lack of positional understanding. This is like giving black a lot of initiative. After this, he took, I took, and then knight d7, I took, f4. F4 is also kind of a dubious move, but yeah, okay, let's see. He doesn't have an immediate f6, so that means I'm still good for now. A5, b5, queen c2, rook ac8, and then again knight f3. This is a blunder. Playing rook fd1 was better, because like there was a black pawn storm that is going to come, and this is a pawn storm which I couldn't avoid later in the game, as you might see, because after knight f3 b4 happened, and b4 is a kind of a nice move actually. I like this move. I just took it, and then I played queen b3, which is a blunder, right on the spot, because better move was queen d2 and then knight b8, and the game is kind of tricky. Black has a lot of good diagonals and queen side and everything, but here black played bishop c4, which is again not a good move. Taking on e2 was good, which he did actually a few moves later, but anyways, taking on e2, and I would have to be on the defensive and find good moves for a long time, which have been difficult. Now I should have played queen e3. Queen e3, which is a tough move to spot, because you always know there will be a d4 coming. This diagonal is not that great. Like king h1 is not done, so yeah, this is not this is a hard move to find, queen e3. But anyways, I had to defend the e2 pawn, which I didn't do. So he took the e2 pawn, and I just play rook fe1. Here by this point black is winning, but somehow I kind of defended my queen side loops, like the holes that I had. So I somehow defended. Knight c5, queen b5, again a mistake. I could have played queen c2. Finding queen moves is a little bit tough always. Finding queen c2 would have been very difficult, to be honest. But anyways, I played queen b5, which is a dubious move. I think I was in time pressure or something. But yeah, rook c8, knight b3, a6, rook ab1, queen c5 check, king g2, queen c2. Queen c2 is like kind of exchanging of things and giving the initiative. Better would have been just to keep the queens on the board. I just exchanged and exchanged, which is okay, I guess. And here final blunder comes right here, rook c2, which just leads into a fork, and then I'm just a piece down. Otherwise, I thought if I didn't do rook c2 and instead done something else like rook e1, then the game would have prolonged. Maybe would have gone around 50, 60, 30 moves more or something like that. But here I was just getting like my slowly my pawns were being like taken by the knight, and I just planned to resign. So this was my game against the candidate master. I didn't show positional understanding in this game, and also I missed a lot of tricky queen moves in the queen side in the middle game. Again, I don't blame myself, because it's really tough to find these moves, but anyways, I'm quite happy. So let's go on to the second game, where I was kind of winning. This is a fun game. It was a crazy house game, and I was white, and Erik Eckersdijk, the 2007 like world champion and 7.08 world record holder. He was the 3x3 single world record holder for 3 years. He's an epic person and a cubing legend. So I started this crazy house game with normal knight f3 opening, just quickly fianchettoing. Just a quick note, this was played under the time control of 1 minute plus 1 second, which is really fast. Okay, so it's a little bit tough. So knight c3, and I played e4. Computer suggests d4, and going into this kind of structures, which I don't know. This is like if this was normal chess, I would have done it, but this is crazy house, and I just want to get some interesting stuff going. So let's go through the opening, because since no pieces are exchanged, I really don't have any thing to contribute unless few minor pieces are exchanged. The Crazy House game is just like normal chess. Here I played queen d2, which is kind of a bad move. Better and here he exploited my light square weaknesses by taking here and then playing knight d4. I Here he could have done one thing is he would have dropped a knight at d4, and there was a game played on the Leeches server, I think so, few years back, where there was a knight drop on d4, and then this was a bit similar. White got a nice attack, and white was able to checkmate. This is a nice checkmate, and I got a similar checkmate later in this game, but black missed this knight drop here. Instead he just moved the knight because maybe but anyways, after this knight drop, I just reinforced this bishop by placing a bishop on g2, and then after that he just exchanged and then dropped the second knight here. But this is on a transposition, there is a tempo loss here, um, um, and it goes into a little bit different kind of a structure. I played bishop h6, which is kind of diverting the plan, and this is straight away losing. Like what I should have played was bishop h3, and then uh, like I don't know, this is what computer is suggesting, but yeah, this I should have continued the attack like this. Playing bishop h6 is really bad actually, because right now I'm getting hammered, but somehow thankfully he didn't continue the attack, and he just got scared of his own king safety and just played knight e6, which is good for me. So again I just played a bishop here, and he played knight g4. I took on h6, and then I dropped a bishop on h3. He dropped a bishop here. Now here it was a pre-move scramble. I just pre-moved a lot, he pre-moved a lot, and there were piece drops all on the king side. I dropped a knight on g5. He dropped a bishop on f6. I dropped a bishop on h4, and he played c6, which is a loss of tempo, because now I just kick this knight um, and put a lot of pressure on this knight, and somehow his dark squares are weak now. He's defending barely with his knight, and now I do bishop h6 again, and I just need a pawn. I currently don't have a pawn. If I have a pawn, then I can do something, but yeah, I have a knight here. I give a knight check, and here he blundered a piece. What he should have done was done like after bishop g7, like he could have done this king g7, and somehow just managed to survive, and it would have been an endless loop around the king side. But anyways, he dropped a piece, which is my luck. He did a d5 break, which is not that great. uh, um, Bishop takes on g7, king takes on g7, e takes on d5. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, I just wanted to target the queen as well. I don't know why this is, and he didn't take he didn't reinforce the king side. He just moved the king to hs, which is very very bad. And right now here there is already a checkmate in 9, and the next few moves I play is quite good. I drop a pawn on f6. He drops a pawn on g7. I exchange. I do it a couple of times. I drop a knight on e7 also, and then I drop a knight on c4. And here I should have taken the king, the queen, but I pre-moved. So that's why I pre-moved a pawn, and that's why he got one of my knights. But anyways, I have two queens, so I just dropped the queen and started giving checks, a lot of checks. And here I played this knight b6 because I just wanted to crash through the structure, and I felt that this was good because if he takes, then I can take and then play queen c7. Here he played this, which is good. Now I missed mate in 3, which is oh, he could have played this actually. This would have been his resistance, giving up all the pieces and then getting the mate. But yeah, he just played this bishop c6, and I took on f7, and now he took with the rook, I took with the queen, and now after queen e7 there is a mate in rook e7, there is a mate in 4, but here I flagged, so he dirty flagged me. The Rubik's Cube world champion, he won on time. But otherwise this is a mate in 4. Just pause the video and see if you can spot it. I have 4 pawns, so that means I just can't quickly mate. If I had some kind of one more queen or one bishop or something, I would have done a mate, but I only have 4 pawns. He has a bishop and 3 knights in the reserve, so this is a tough mate to spot actually. It starts with queen g8, bishop drop here, takes on d7, rook takes, knight drop on d6, queen e7, and then queen f7. So this is a mate. Little bit niche idea. The idea is to deflect the rook and then exchange off this knight, which is controlling everything, and then have use that knight on d7 to drop on d6 and then deliver a checkmate. So yeah, this was my game with Eric Eckersdijk. Crazy game because it was crazy house. Candidate master I lost positionally, and against Eric Eckersdijk it was a seesaw game, but if I just had few more seconds I would have won. I'm quite happy with this game, and it's a nice game, and I will always like analyze it further, this variation. Yeah, thanks for watching.